For centuries, martial arts have been shrouded in mystery. Secret techniques and invincible masters who claim to have superhuman abilities, who have built entire identities around skills they've never proven in real combat.
Eddie!
And when someone finally forced them to put them to the test in a real fight, the results were always the same. These are the most satisfying moments when the fake masters are finally defeated by real fighters.
Oh my God!
There are fake masters, and then there are delusional fake masters. And then there's Yanagi Ryuken. This Japanese Ki master spent decades building a reputation around an ability, knocking people out without touching them. This man claimed he could knock down his opponents using only energy waves, hand movements, and his shouts, and his students fell every time. Ryuken had been putting on this show for so long that he became very confident in his mastery of no-touch martial arts. So he did what no sensible fraud would ever do. He issued a challenge, 1 million Japanese yen, approximately $5,000, to any trained fighter who could defeat him in a match. Then Iwakurago appeared, a true martial artist with real training in boxing and jiu-jitsu, who was more than happy to take the easy money. And then the punches started raining down. The energy waves didn't come. The knockouts never materialized. And then Ryuken was left bleeding on the mat, $5,000 poorer, with nothing to show for it after decades of mystical stances. China feels a deep reverence for traditional martial arts. Tai Chi, in particular, it's treated almost like a sacred institution. So when an MMA coach from Beijing named Xiaodong spoke out on social media and called the whole thing a fraud, the whole country turned against him. Xu's argument was simple. These so-called masters made a living with mystical claims they could never prove, and nobody put them to the test. So he wanted to change that. Wei stepped forward to answer the call. A self-proclaimed great master of Tai Chi of the Thunder style, who had appeared on national television as one of the best martial artists in China. A man who claimed he could use invisible force fields, break the inside of a watermelon without breaking the skin, and use chai to keep a dove balanced on the palm of his hand. Both fighters faced off in a basement in Chengdu, but in the end, only one would come out unscathed. The fight lasted barely 20 seconds, and the Master of Thunder was lying bleeding on the ground, while Xiu stood over him, barely even panting. Wei's defeat was not just an ending, but an important turning point that marked the beginning of a new era. And Xiaodong was not done yet. His next target was Ding Hao, a Wing Chun practitioner who claimed to be a fourth-generation descendant of Yip Man. Yes, the Yip Man, Bruce Lee's master. Ding Hao trained with the Wing Chun master, Yu Changhua, and he entered this fight fully confident that his lineage gave him something no MMA fighter could match. But he was very wrong. The Wing Chun techniques, which looked so elegant in training, vanished the moment he faced someone with real experience. Strikes! Zhu knocked him down 4 times in less than 2 minutes, and the referee stopped the fight. Ding's excuse was that the event organizers hadn't given him enough rice before the fight. On the same night as the fight between Shu and Ding Hao, Ding's own master Yu Changhua took part in a challenge match. Yu Changhua was a third-generation Wing Chun master, a direct descendant of Yip Man. He had official credentials from the Chinese Kung Fu Association. He was responsible for teaching Ding everything he knew, but his opponent was an amateur boxer named Xiong Cheng. When he was a teenager, Xiong suffered a compound fracture in his right arm. After multiple surgeries, he was never the same again. So he learned to box with only one hand. And Xiong fought the entire match with his right hand behind his back.
太极选手是没有带。这个泰拳还是拳击？
不让踢腿吗？
好。
换拳，换拳。连续前手。
用硬碰硬啊！说成的话呢，还是带着一个。
After the fight, Yu was asked what had gone wrong, and he explained that the promoters hadn't given him enough to eat. Apparently, Wing Chun only works on a full stomach. What a funny excuse. You'd think that being defeated by Xiaodong in less than 2 minutes would be less than enough. But Ding Hao wasn't finished, so he got into the ring against another MMA fighter named Ah Hu, intending to prove that his Wing Chun was real.
永生大师。他戴的大家都看得到，戴的是非指手套，不是戴的普通的拳套，任何地方都可以用。所以比较小心，因为毕竟这个手套是这边地面比较严重，延续的地面。
Ah Hu knocked him out with a kick to the head, ending the fight in just 72 seconds. Another opponent, the same result. This Vietnamese Kung Fu master had it all. He had the demonstrations, the followers, the reputation, and a whole setup designed to impress anyone who didn't know any better. For years, no one questioned any of that. And after these videos, I'm sure a lot of people will be able to see the difference. The next master was not a complete unknown. Wang Yanlong introduced himself as an expert in traditional kung fu, instructor, martial arts actor, and defender of ancient Chinese techniques. A kind of Bruce Lee without charisma or effective strikes. Over the years, Wang had become famous for his demonstrations, acrobatic moves, kicks in the air, and exaggerated stances. But then, he wanted to move to the next level. In September of 2023, Wang publicly challenged one of the most feared fighters on the planet, Buakao Banchamek, the Thai destroyer himself, the man who made kickboxing change its rules, a machine of violence with legs of steel and elbows that cut like razors. And what happened when these two worlds collided? An unintentional comedy. From the very first second, Wang ran around in circles, kicking at nothing and gesturing as if he were in a movie. Buakao watched him, almost confused, even making fun of him. Wang kept throwing punches, but Buakao didn't take him seriously. Until he decided to get serious and started attacking. He trapped him in a clinch, grabbed him by the neck, and landed a knee strike directly to his torso. Wang stepped back. He complained. He raised his hand. The referee tried to resume the fight, but Wang had already started his show. He demanded to change the rules to MMA style, shouted, waved his arms, and even accused Buakao of cheating. The result was no contest. The fight didn't end. But the respect for Wang did. Buakao didn't even flinch. He greeted the audience, smiled, and left. Meanwhile, Wang was still giving an impromptu press conference in the middle of the ring. If there was ever a fake master who deserved everything that happened to him, that was Mabaguo. This 69-year-old man claimed to be a master of Hunyuan Tai Chi. He claimed to have an energy ball in his hand. Then, in May 2020, he participated in a real tournament in Xiaodong, and his opponent was Wang Qingming, a former martial arts coach, 49 years old, with real combat experience. Before the fight, it was reported that the referee asked Ma to show mercy, but he asked the wrong man. Wang Qingming knocked him down 3 times in 30 seconds. The third knockdown left the Tai Chi master lying on his back, unconscious, and needing the medical staff to wake him up. In fact, it took them longer to revive him than the fight lasted. After being knocked out in 30 seconds by a martial arts enthusiast 20 years younger than him, Ma's explanation after the fight was perhaps the boldest excuse in the history of martial arts fraud. He claimed that someone had poisoned him before the fight and insisted that he should have won, but his hands wouldn't move. Now then, credit where credit is due, this man has the perfect look. John Jung calls himself a Shaolin Kung Fu practitioner, and his presentation is impeccable. The traditional robes, the dramatic poses, the movements that look like they're straight out of an 80s martial arts movie. He is, in a nutshell, the most cinematic person you've ever seen walk into a gym.
是一个假和尚，并不是所谓的少林僧。
Looking like a martial artist and actually being one are very different things. And when John Jung stepped into the ring against an MMA fighter, the disguise stopped working.
A self-proclaimed Shaolin dude, and he's taken on, we just saw this MMA guy. This MMA guy took on the Wing Chun guy, jabs the Shaolin dude in the face. I'm pretty sure he's a fake Shaolin, guys. arsenal is taken away. But oh, ow, that hook really hurt. Oof, ooh. Body hook. Dude, he's really good at the no gloves, man, because gloves take away from. So there, he's trying to do.
The stances that seemed so powerful in his demonstrations had no answer against real strikes. Some people train for Instagram, others train to survive, and only one of those things matters when the bell rings. The former UFC featherweight, Nam Phan, was having a normal day at his Madu Academy in Garden Grove, California, when a man named Kai Tran walked in. Kai was a Hangzhou Kung Fu master in his 50s, and he had a plan. His plan was to enter this MMA gym, become a professional MMA fighter, impress Dana White, win a championship, and become a millionaire. But he wanted to start by challenging Nam Phan. Phan is a veteran who has competed in the UFC, Bellator, Strikeforce, and Pancrase. He has black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, Karate, and the Vietnamese art of Viet Quyen Dao. He also has 12 professional boxing matches on his record. The fight lasted 2 rounds under stand-up rules. But in the end, only one of them was left standing, and it's not who you think.
Mike, coach. Don't focus on that. Watch your head. Don't focus on that. Mike.
Mike, we here now.
Forward. Put your hands up. Get this round over. Let it go. Control now. Yes, control. Yeah, man.
Nam Phan gradually destroyed Kai. He knocked him down. He let him get up. He knocked him down again.
Hey! Oh, get it up! Get it up! Go! Hey! Get through the swing! Go! Grab him! Hey! We ain't done!
When the final combination came, the Kung Fu master, who had entered the building with dreams of a championship, was sleeping on the mat. Kai Tran had a plan until he got punched in the mouth. DKU is a South Korean martial arts instructor and YouTuber who gained a large following by demonstrating his own fighting system called Warfare Combat System. Taekwondo, Jeet Kune Do, Judo, all mixed together in what he called free movement in combat. His videos are impressive and his confidence was enormous. So in 2022, he announced that he would fight against Manny Pacquiao. Not just any Pacquiao, the Pacquiao with a professional record of 62 wins in 72 fights. The Pacquiao who held titles in 8 different weight divisions. The man considered by many as one of the greatest boxers in history. The fight was organized as a 6-round exhibition, and you entered at a weight of 79 kilograms, 13 kilos more than Pacquiao. But that didn't help him at all.
What he has done is been
regardless of the size advantage.
Manny Pacquiao will turn 44 on December 7th.
No, he's not the same age he was before. So.
What the world saw was the entire thesis of DKU's martial arts philosophy, facing one of the fastest and most precise pairs of hands in boxing history.
We'll see if Manny decides. Club. Happy holidays to all of you and your family. Has picked up the pace, as you pointed out, Sinisa. Left there.
The Warfare Combat System had no answer for Pacquiao's jab. The philosophical freedom of movement looked a lot like moving backward and surviving when Pac-Man started throwing punches.
Trying to prolongate some time. You was moments away from being stopped. But Alexa,
Manny has him in circles. That is hilarious.
Well, DK's got to do something, and he's getting. And now Manny Pacquiao going right after DKU. DKU can barely. There's a right ball by a left, driving DKU.
Oh my God!
DKU on a shot from Manny.
Pacquiao won by unanimous decision, and he did it with devastating precision. The gap between a YouTube martial artist and a true legend can't be closed with a system. Among the most ridiculous charlatans are the famous no-touch practitioners, those who claim they can stop attacks or knock someone out without touching them. This supposed master decided to demonstrate his power in front of what appeared to be a soldier. The show started with him acting confident. He asked the soldier to try to hit him because he claimed he could stop the attacks with pure energy. He hit the soldier by surprise and smiled as if he had proven something. But on the second try, reality hit like a train. The imposter, still dizzy, wanted to try again. And this time he took a real hail of blows, ending up humiliated in front of everyone. That day he discovered that fists can definitely be felt. Whether it's a Japanese master who bets $5,000 on energy waves, or a Tai Chi grandmaster who claims to have an invisible force, or a Wing Chun practitioner who blames his defeat on the soup rations. The lesson is always the same.